Okay, guys, everybody's making a video about new cars, so they got to try mine. So, I just ate a big plate of liver and onions, so I'm gonna do this faceless if you don't mind. Okay, so, um, everybody's talking about new cars and how you have to fix the new car. Okay, the new car. I got these brake parts right here. The new car is kind of obviously technically bad for the consumer. It's such a bad car that you don't want to buy it, right? And it brakes too easy, and everything is just kind of bad about it, especially to people who know about cars. All the car guys out there. Okay, so let's just clarify what we're talking about. New cars are absolutely too technical, and they're basically computers now, computers on wheels. And the problem with a new car is, like, let's just say you get a new car, it's got like a 9-speed transmission, it's got like variable valve timing, it has, it turns off cylinders on the freeway to save money, to save gas. And then they cheap out on one bearing in the transmission or one seal, and it literally, you have to say, how old is this car? It's not worth fixing. You're not going to have somebody take it apart, fix that one piece, and you're not going to do that because now they don't just fix your transmission, they send it back and have a new one sent out and then put it in. I know I had a Ford C-Max. I had 4 of them put in by the dealer. Okay, as soon as the warranty expired, I sold the fucking thing. So that's the problem. Okay, you cheap out on one bearing, and then the whole thing is totaled because you can't do the maintenance anymore. So then you look at this car. This is actually an updated car. I put a Magnum in this goddamn thing, and it's great. It's gonna run forever. And who's with me? This rear end is looking better and better every day. I don't know, something about it just looks good. I'm gonna keep that thing probably. We'll see. Okay, so trying to fix the new car market is people are going about it the wrong way. Okay, first of all, the last thing I saw in the new car market is like the turn signals now are like fucking made of like plasma or something. Like I saw a truck, like a GMC truck, like a pickup truck with a turn signal on, and it looked like there was fire coming out of the goddamn fender. And it's like, why can't you just use a fucking bulb? You know what I'm saying? Just use a fucking bulb. Like, this is the bulb that I want. You know, it was regulated to use, like, there was like 4 light bulbs that were standard. So the old cars look good despite limitations of engineering and style. You had to use this every time you fucking built a car, but they all looked wonderful. Okay, so here's what I'm getting at. So now I'm gonna get to the point here. Trying to solve the new car is a symptom. Okay, and you don't treat your skin when you have an internal problem. You take care of the internal problem. So the reason why we have these new cars is because, here it is, dun, 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 we no longer have, how should I say this? Well, my original thought, we no longer have auto shop in schools. That's the reason. We no longer have a smart consumer. Okay, so what's in America, it's hard to fuck over an American because we're smart, okay? But that's changing, okay? That's changing. So if you don't know a damn thing about a home loan and you go get one, you're going to get screwed over on your home loan. If you don't know anything about building a house from scratch and you just go to some place and they know that you don't know shit about it, guess what? You're going to get fucked over on building a house from scratch. Okay, so these cars that they're building today would have been nipped in the bud if we would have just taught people how to work on the cars, but we abandoned that. We abandoned that when the computer basically reigned in the automotive industry. In the late 90s, probably the last year that, let's just say like 90% of the high schools that had them still had an auto shop, was probably like around 94. Okay? Once cars starting automatically without worrying about it, we abandoned teaching people about cars. Now, it was great. In the early 90s, I'm going to tell you something real fast. Okay, this might be a long one. I'm sorry, but this is my show, okay? In the early 90s, people were fed up with speed. People were fed up with goddamn cams. You got to understand that it was big industry to sell you parts for your car. Just like, well, when the computer took over, now we all just have ads on our phone, and our computer, and our TV, right? But in the 90s, you know, what was big? It was music. Movies were big. Make a lot of money in movies. Make a lot of money in TV, radio. Make a lot of money in car parts, okay? They're going to sell you car parts. They're going to sell you camshafts, all these things, right? I swear to God, people were so fed up with this bullshit. And all the jalopy hot rods that were driving around town, that in like 1993, when you could go buy a car and it was the better fuel injection system. It wasn't the original one that came out in the late 80s. It was like a better fuel injection. And cars had like 140 horsepower. People wanted to go buy a car just because it was going to start. Okay? That's why they went and bought a car. And they were happy to have it. They didn't want the horsepower. It had enough horsepower to move itself. And you could go out. Didn't matter if it was 120 degrees down to minus 50. It would start on the first try. Okay? And that was a beautiful thing in America. People were just like, I can't believe it. Like you cried. Okay? Because of the fucking cars. Okay? But at that point, people said, well, we don't got to teach people how to get their car on the road anymore. And they stopped having auto shop in schools. Okay, so around 2000, pretty much they were all gone. There was no auto shop past 2000 in America, pretty much. I mean, like, you know, I'm on the West Coast here. But if we had auto shop in schools still today, and I don't propose having just an auto shop. I propose having a hands-on. Okay, so how do you do some basic plumbing? How do you install a water heater? How do you take care of a car? How do you know if there's something wrong with your electrical panel just by looking at it? You know, if we don't teach our youth something, we're going to have a Tesla water heater in our house someday. Okay, think about that. So let's talk about something that's kind of crazy. Okay, for all you children, what is this? What is that? Tell me what that is. You don't know what it is, okay? You have no idea, because the new cars don't have them. It's a dipstick, right? So the new cars don't have a dipstick. And what you end up with is they tell you it's a sealed system. You know, it's a sealed system. I was working a mechanic in South City, and one day a car came in with no dipstick. I looked at the car for like 40 minutes, and it was a brand new car. I came back and said, hey, I can't check the fucking transmission fluid in this thing. And they said, don't worry, it's a sealed system. Okay, so here's where they fuck you, okay? It's a sealed system. What's that sound like? Oh, it's a sealed system. That doesn't hit the air, so it's sealed. That's not true. It has a vent, so it's not a sealed system. It has a vent. It has to have a vent, okay? I'll tell you right now, it has to have a vent because it gets hot and it gets cold, okay? So it's got a vent, therefore is not a sealed system. And what they tell you is that it will go a phenomenal amount of time before you need to change the fluid. Like, I had a fucking Chrysler, and the interval for the transmission was like, I don't know what, I feel like I'm exaggerating when I say this, but it was like 150,000 miles before you had to check the transmission fluid, okay? Chrysler 200 with the 2.4. Look it up. Doesn't have a very good service record. You know why? Because people are not checking the transmission fluid until 150,000 miles. Okay, I got my car; it had 40,000 miles on it. It was like a nice car. I got that car; it was only 2 years old, man. I loved that car. I ended up totaling it, but anyway, so 150,000 miles is somewhere around where they want you to check the transmission fluid for the first time. Okay, no dipstick. And then I brought it in at about 65,000 miles, and I just said, okay, do it, right? Because it was tricky. Like, I couldn't figure it out. Plus, at the time, I had no place. I had no house to work. I was like in an apartment, right? So anyway, so I just told him to do it. It cost a lot of money. He told me that you just, he said, you're the exception to the rule. He said, no, most people will wait, and their transmission has no fluid left by the time it is serviced. Because the fluid that they're putting in this stuff now, the lighter the better, because the EPA is cracking down on fuel mileage. Okay, you need the best fuel mileage you can possibly get. What's that turn into? You have an oil like olive oil in your fucking car. It's so light it could seep into your pores. Okay, so with this sealed system, guess what? All that light oil is going to get burnt up someday. You're going to be on a hot day driving your car too long, and whatever it is, it's going to get burnt up. It's all going to go out that vent. Okay, and then you're going to have no fluid left, and you're going to end up ruining your transmission. I think I had an 8-speed or a 9-speed. I forget now. It might have been an 8-speed. You know, how important is gas mileage, honestly? I mean, we have a lot of trees and shit in this country. I'd like to feed them. You know, I don't want them all to die, okay? So how important is gas mileage when you have 8 speeds and the speed limit is at the most 70? Okay? I mean, a 9-speed... 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 65. You have 8 speeds to get there. Is this fucking crazy or what? Okay. I mean, I don't even like I like a nice V8 or V6 with a manual, or even a 4-cylinder with a manual. It's fun to drive. You know, when I see a 6-speed, I'm like, I don't want the 6-speed. Where's the 5-speed at? I want the 5-speed. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and you're on the freeway. Like, what's the big deal? Like, why do you have 6? And they probably have more now. It's a manual. So I don't get this bullshit with the speeds. There's too many speeds. You don't need an 8-speed transmission. You know, the 4-speed transmission on the old trucks, the Dodge trucks, yeah, it's a little clunky. But I feel like if they were to want different outcomes, like if they change their goals with the programming and maybe a little bit with the ratios, they could get what they wanted out of that vehicle. And plus, you know, if you're talking about gas mileage, let's not talk about trucks from the 90s, because Dodge didn't have a V8 and anything else. Okay, if Dodge would have put a V8 in a car, I think it would have been a little bit better. But they didn't do that. So basically, I think that they could really rework the old model. I would love if they just came out with the old transmissions and stuff again. Get all these people out of the country who don't give a fuck about America. You'll end up with like half the population. And then we're going to need to feed the trees. We're not going to have enough cars on the road. But if you want to fix the symptom, then you can go and bitch and complain about the new car rolling off the assembly line all you want today. You can. It's not going to get you anywhere. If you want to get it where it's derived from, you need to start teaching the youth how to work with their hands. Because the only thing school is teaching kids about cars, honestly, like just the world today, is what you look like in them. Okay, that's when somebody goes buy a car today, they want to know how good they look in it. because that's the only thing they can know about. They don't know about anything else. I mean, like, it's kind of a crapshoot. Like, if you go buy a car and you get something that you think is going to be reliable, and that's why you bought it, you know, is it? Is it going to be reliable? Is it going to be cheap? Like, the thing is, what I don't like about cars is they change them too often. I mean, like, if I was going to buy a new car and I want it to be reliable, I'd want to have something that they've been building the same for like at least 10 years. But they just don't. Like, they don't want to. So, in like 2018, they started, like, cars in America always had really good hardwired electronics. Like, your computer and your wires and everything were analog. You actually had points, not points, but give me a second here. So you actually had, like, you know, connections, real connections. And now what you have in cars is around 18 or 20, or I'm not sure when, they kind of went to a what do you call that? Like a digital interface. So, like, all of a sudden, oh, you want heat? Okay, it's a digital thing. It's like a screen, you know? And that is ruining cars. That's going to ruin cars. It's going to turn a car into, like, just like a toy. And toys don't last very long. So these cars are going to be designed to where, like, they have to be good enough to have a secondary market, so you can buy it used, but you're probably only going to buy it used once. And then they got rid of all the old good cars with cash for clunkers, and that was calculated because all those cars, man. You know what? Like, after cars cash for clunkers, I realized that you just don't see all these old cars from the 80s and stuff anymore. But I will agree that they were a lot of pieces of shit on the road. But this thing right here, this changed the game in the automotive world. So this is like the early 90s. This thing came along, and all of a sudden, everything is in one spot. So you have your blinkers, your washers, your hazards, your blades in one spot, and then before that, it was spread all over the dashboard. So that changed the game in the automotive world. That was a pretty big thing. And then, if you have a problem with it, most likely it's that piece right there. And everything else is so well built that you never really have to go into anything else. You just got to change that. That's pretty much like what happened there. And that was smart. This is where, this took a lot of class out of the cars, because now you don't see where am I going to put these parts on the dashboard? Like, where's it going to go? And it kind of like streamlined things to the point where the style kind of went away, and it's just kind of a utility style. But getting back to my really only point for this video, if you want to change the cause, you need to educate the people. Okay, the American people need to be smart purchasers. Because if we were all getting, our kids, I don't have kids, but all of our kids were getting taught every year, every class was graduating with an education of hands-on training, so you have a hands-on class, right? The consumer will be too smart to buy these pieces of shit cars. Okay? So you have people who have the money, and they'll just go buy it. And that's one section of the people who, population who buys cars. And then everybody else needs a car, of course. And you just have, if you don't know anything, you just have consumer reports to go off of. And that's about it. A lot of people don't know how to use this. I was going to pick up a screwdriver, but I don't have one. Like, a lot of people, and there's always been people like this, they don't know how to use this. Of course, this is kind of a fucked up one. A lot of people out in the world don't know how to turn a wrench, okay? And they don't know how to use a screwdriver. And even like a squeaky countertop or, cupboard door is outside of their realm, okay? That's just a fact. And these people exist, and the people who know how to do it have always made a good living because a lot of people just plain don't know how to do it. Okay? So when you have a population that doesn't know about what they're buying, you will get fucked over. So the way to stop the new cars from getting too wild is to educate the people. We could literally solve this in a decade. And then there'd have to be at least one manufacturer that's making something that's simple. Like I would like to go buy a car with hand roll up windows, wires to open all my doors on the dashboard, and just a key in the ignition. You know what I mean? Like, how does it happen today that you can steal a Hellcat just by putting it in neutral and pushing it away? I mean, come on. The Dodge Durango, the Dodge Dakota from the 90s, extremely hard to steal. I've talked about this a little bit before, but I'm not going to get into it. But the computer is smart. Like 95% of the cars that were sold had a factory alarm system, and the alarm system knows if your door is open. It knows if you unlock a door from the inside. It knows all this stuff, and it triggers the alarm, and you can't steal the car. I mean, if you did your homework, I'm sure you could. But how is it that these people are doing this? And I'll tell you how. It's because the tech industry is designing everything that we buy now. So you have Indians, basically, and people from other parts of the world who are not American, designing our things, okay? And we don't know enough. Like I know enough. I'm sure a lot of people know enough, but I don't have money to go buy a new car, okay? I'm probably never going to buy a brand new car in my life. The people who have the money to go buy a car, what they want is a warranty. Okay, that's the big thing. A warranty. So basically what you're telling yourself is, I'm going to go spend like 50, 60 grand on a car. I'm going to get the extended warranty, which is 125,000 miles, and then that's all the car is going to be worth to me. 125,000 miles. I drive over 100,000 miles. Well, it was per year, but I changed my career. But, it's like I drive. You know what I mean? I drive a lot. And then the problem with that is that's not even the deal. The deal is it's 100 something. It's like 100,000 miles or like 7 years. And then, you go put some new parts on the car, and it's got to get towed in a dealership. Guess what? Warranty void. So we need to educate our youth, and if we educate our youth, people are going to have to buy, or people are going to have to offer a worthwhile car to buy, and it's all this EPA shit. It's all, when you're fighting over a fraction of a gallon, they, like turning the car off at stop signs or stop lights, you'd be amazed how much gas that saves. I was in a band once. I had this little brown car, and I didn't have any money, so I started turning my engine off at stop signs, not stop signs, at stoplights, and I saved so much gas. Like I saw that gas gauge just going down, down, down. Fill it up, and it just would just creep over to E, right? But nope, I started turning off that engine, and then it was a nice little Honda, so it just started right up. And yeah, you'd be surprised how much that saved in gas. It really saves a lot of gas. And then I bought a Buick, it's a V8 Buick. Anyway, but the whole thing is, they're trying to save so little gas by doing all these gymnastics in the car that they turned it into like people don't want to own a car anymore because of how technical it is. Like literally people just want to get an Uber. And it isn't even like that I don't have a spot for a car. It's just that like I don't want one. It's like, why would I want one of those pieces of shit? Plus, you get a car, you got to pay for it every month whether you drive it or not. You got to have insurance. So many illegals and stuff in this country, the insurance ain't cheap. Like, I used to get an insurance quote. It was like $900. It used to be for 12 months. Now it's like $900 for 6 months. And it's just like, it's no longer easy to do anything. So, we got to get all the people out of America who's not supposed to be here. We have to get people out who don't care about the American lifestyle and just want to do their own thing that they came from, because they're not helping. These people take tax money; they don't contribute. And then we got, I'd like to do a tax freeze. I'm not gonna. Why would I pay taxes when we're just giving it to people all over the country who are just defrauding us left and right? And I'm a taxpayer. But anyway, and then we got to educate. If we don't educate, the car will get worse and worse and worse. Like, why even have the hood open anymore? But this little Dart, this thing's cool. I've been going back and forth. Do I sell it? But you know what sucks is, as much as people like old cars, the deals aren't there anymore. And I don't just mean like, a lot of people are saying that, but what I'm saying is, you want to go buy a car and you want to get something that you want and fix it up little by little. Well, that car is hard to find. Because the car that you're going to find that needs to be fixed up little by little, like, you don't want to go on a goddamn scavenger hunt to find every part for this car. Like, you look at the dashboard's gone. You can see the frame behind it. Like, that's a little too much of a project, right? Or you just get one that you don't like. Like, I don't like this car. You know what I mean? I want, like, this is a 4-door. Yeah, I'm cool with the 4-door. It's not the car I wanted, but I like this thing. I actually like this thing. I almost like the 4-door. Oh, wait a second. I'm just kind of ranting at this point. I kind of like the 4-door on this model. This is a 70 Plymouth B-body, so it's a satellite. I almost like the 4-door better than the 2-door in certain ways, because in 70 they just got fucking ugly. Like, in 70 they had a cove behind the back door. I was not a big fan of that cove. That cove just looked like it was overdoing it. Like it looked like it was trying to pretend that it was real. And it's not real. And the bumpers on this thing are funny looking. But the 4-door is like, it's kind of cool. It's like, it's just a car. Anyhow, my phone's dying, so that's about all I got to say. We need to educate the youth, and if we don't educate the youth, we're just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. Anyway, have a good one.